Today I'm going to be discussing the 3 different income streams with eXp Realty. I'm actually shooting this YouTube video from my hotel room in Halifax. Mel and I are part of a mastermind and we flew down just the other day. So I'm going to be diving in, but before that, if you don't know me, Mel and I have now purchased over 240 units in 5 different countries: Canada, US, Costa Rica, Mexico, and Dominican Republic. We have an action family mentoring program, and I'm a licensed real estate agent with eXp Realty. Now let's dive in. So obviously the first stream of income are the commissions, which you're going to say, Dave, that's normal at any brokerage. I understand. With eXp Realty, we're on an 80-20 split, meaning 80% goes to the agent, 20% goes to eXp. Now this caps at $16,000, meaning once you've made roughly about $80,000 in GCI gross commission income, and the quick math on that is 20% of 80,000 equates to 16,000. So once you pretty much hit $80,000 in commission, you have capped out at eXp Realty, which now makes you 100% commission minus fees. This is a very attractive commission split. I know there's lots of different splits out there, and hear me out through the entire video to make a decision on which brokerage you're going to join, but this is a pretty attractive split. Now, the next thing with commissions is the Icon Agent Award. Now, eXp actually has something called the Icon Agent Award, which this actually tripled the agent count of eXp in a single year when they announced it. And I'll go over it very quickly. Basically, once you hit that $16,000 cap, right, that I was mentioning earlier, and if you sell an additional, or if you have an additional 20 transactions, then you become an Icon agent. And what they end up doing is they take that $16,000 that you paid in caps and they give it all back to you in the form of stocks in the company, which means, yes, ownership in the actual brokerage. And I'll talk about stock awards next up, but that's a pretty cool thing. That is a game changer that you can actually have ownership in this company. Now, a little nuance here that not many people talk about is there's another way. If you're saying, Dave, I'm in a luxury market and I can't do an additional 20 transactions, there's also another way that you can do this. If you get 500,000 in GCI gross commission income and do 10 transactions, that will basically equate to the 20, and you can still get that Icon award and get your $16,000 back in the form of company stock. So that's a quick explanation of the commission structure. Now I want to dive into the stock award. Now, like I mentioned previously, this is actual ownership in a brokerage. This is equity in the brokerage. What other brokerage does this, right? Like, this is absolutely incredible. And this is why Mel and I buy real estate, because we want ownership. We want control, right? We want something that has equity in it. And this is exactly what eXp is doing for its agents. They're giving equity in the form of stock in the company, which I absolutely love. This is why I joined eXp. This is one of the many reasons why I joined eXp Realty. Before we go into the different stock awards that eXp offers, I just want to say something. eXp compensates its agents for doing the exact same thing that they would at other brokerages. And you'll see the examples here, okay? So something that you would do at another brokerage, and I'm not going to name any other ones, there are ways that you can get compensated over and above that you would at other brokerages for exactly doing the same thing. Okay, now let's dive into it. So just by completing your first transaction at eXp, they will award you $200 USD in company stock. You start getting ownership and equity right away. Another way of doing this is once you hit your $16,000 cap, they will also give you $400 USD in company stock. Pretty awesome, right? And third up is the agent equity program, which is totally optional, right? It's a signature to sign in, it's a signature to sign out, totally optional. And this is, you get to take 5% of every one of your commissions and buy company stock at a discount, at a 10% discount. Now let me dive into 2 different things here. This, I'm treating mine as almost like a savings account, right? Almost like an RSP, a 401k, an emergency fund. I'm looking at saving these funds for myself as almost like a slush fund, an emergency fund, right? So 5% off every commission, you know, doesn't sting that bad, and it's going towards company stock. Okay, so I absolutely love this option. Now, the second thing I want to chat about is the 10% discount. So let's make something up. Let's say you have a $10,000 commission. I'm making up a total scenario. Let's say you have a $10,000 commission. 5% of that would be $500, right? So hypothetically, you could buy $500 worth of stock that would come off. But we haven't included the 10% discount for $450. So for $450, you would get $500 worth of stock as the agent equity program. Now, I want you to look at it this way. If you go to a financial advisor, right, you're hoping that they get you 10% at the end of the year. Hey, I'm going to give you my money. Hopefully you can get me 10% by the end of the year. What I love about this is it's 10% right off the top. So the second that you opt into this, you're getting that 10% discount right off the hop, which I absolutely love. It's return on investment right there. Now, one thing before we dive into the third stream of income is eXp is an agent-owned, agent-grown brokerage. Okay, and it is a lifestyle brokerage in my opinion, because it allows you to do two different things. It allows you to build wealth, and it allows you to actually have the lifestyle that you want. And this is something that real estate agents are absolutely looking for. Yes, they want that money, they want that wealth, they want that continuous cash flow, all of that stuff, right? We all want that. But the lifestyle that comes with it, because there's three different streams of income, which I'll talk about revenue share up next, it allows you to not always continuously trade your time for money. This is a lot like buying real estate in my opinion, right? So that's why Mel and I have a portfolio of real estate, because it's a passive stream of income. We have equity and ownership in it, and it allows us to create generational wealth. Now, on that note, let's dive into the actual revenue share. This is completely optional. And this is something that I see a lot of YouTube videos about, that they're pushing the revenue share. And I think it might turn off some agents, because they might say, Dave, I just want to go out there and be a transactional real estate agent. All this agent attraction, revenue share, it's not interesting to me. And I understand that. And this is why you don't need to do that. This is a totally optional portion of the multiple streams of income. Now, that being said, like I mentioned earlier, you can get compensated for doing the exact same thing. What do I mean by that? When you're at a brokerage and let's say your friend, your family member, your coworker, someone on social media reaches out to you and says, hey, I want to join a brokerage. Which one should I join? You're naturally going to say the one that I'm currently at and introduce them and get that ball rolling. Well, at eXp, you're going to do the exact same thing if you choose to do so. And now you're going to be part of the revenue share stream of income. See what I'm saying? You don't have to overextend yourself here. It's the exact same thing that you're doing other places. It's just they're compensating you differently because they can, because they are an actual cloud-based brokerage. The revenue share structure is actually modeled after Keller Williams, right? Their 7-tier model. The one thing that I want to stress here is that Keller Williams is profit sharing. eXp is revenue sharing. What does that mean? Well, revenue is top line. What comes in gets shared right away, right? Keller Williams, profit sharing. What comes in goes through brick and mortar expenses, staff, X, Y, Z, every other expense. And then whatever's left over, if there is something left over, gets shared out. That's the difference between revenue and profit. Revenue is the money that comes in. eXp actually has it in their charter that 50% of the income that comes in gets dispersed back to the agents, right? So pretty cool, right? So that was a no-brainer for me when I saw that. That was another reason why I joined eXp Realty. So let's explain the 7 tiers. I'm going to go really quickly over. I might just do one tier because I have other videos for this as well that you can check out. 7 tiers, basically. Let's just do line number 1 or tier number 1. Let's say you bring someone in. Okay, let's say you bring in your friend John, because your friend John was the one that reached out to you and said, hey, which brokerage should I join? And you tell them, well, eXp's been pretty good to me. You should probably join here. So John joins you and eXp, right? And they're on your first line, your first tier line, okay? So it's a 3.5% interest. And let me just give you a scenario. Let's use a $10,000 commission again. Let's say John gets a $10,000 commission. So the 80-20 split, John would get $8,000. Again, in this hypothetical situation, eXp would get $2,000. Out of the $2,000, okay, you would get paid 3.5%. Now, it's not out of the $2,000, it's out of the 10% commission. So 10% commission times 3.5%, we can all agree is $350. So you could make $350 from that commission that John earned, right? But you're not getting it from John's portion, right? The $8,000 goes to John. The $2,000 that went to eXp, they're actually paying you the $350, okay? See how powerful that is? It's from the company's dollar, not from the real estate agent. So that's how that would look like in this hypothetical scenario. And again, I've got other videos on this, so I won't spend too much time. Now, the most powerful thing here, and one thing that I just want you to think about, over and above everything else, right? The commission structure, the icon agents, the stock awards, the equity in the company, the ownership in the company, the revenue share, the fact that it's actually paying out revenue as opposed to profit, like all of those were absolutely amazing. The thing that was the clincher for me is willable. Yes, willable. What do I mean by that? Okay, what I mean by this is your revenue share is willable. So let's say you are a real estate agent, you're doing this for years, you've built up the agent attraction side, whether organically or you've tried to attract other agents, right? You can do either way. And you now have this revenue share every single month. Well, let's make up a scenario. I pass away tomorrow, okay? And Mel, my wife, is not a real estate agent. If she gets her license in the next 12 months, she can inherit my revenue share. Let that sink in, okay? I pass away, I have my revenue share. My wife comes along, or whoever I left it in my will, and gets their license within the next 12 months. They can inherit my revenue share. That was the game changer for me, okay? And everyone that I talk to that wants to become a real estate agent, like I mentioned, they want that wealth, they want that lifestyle, which eXp, in my opinion, is the only one that gives you that with the multiple streams of income. And then at the end of the day, they always say, the number one important thing in my life is my family. Okay, well, and so same thing for me, right? I'm no different than anyone else. This is why I chose eXp Realty, because I know that I'll have a stream of income here that I'm going to be able to build up, and when something happens to me, I'll be able to will it to my loved ones. If all this sounds good and you're interested, I'll actually put a description in the link below. I've created a team called the Action Agents, right? Where I've got another video on this where you work closely with me. There's a lot of training, mentoring, coaching, all of that stuff, but that's in the link below. And if you like real estate and investing overall, check out my next video. I'm Dave with the Action Agents. Have an awesome day.